Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. So look, usually I'd start by walking you through an agenda for today, but the drama we're deconstructing today is just so packed with twists, I really want to preserve the suspense and jump right in. Imagine this. You are the true biological heiress to a massive family fortune. Sounds great, right? But instead of living in luxury, your fake, manipulative adopted sister actually convinces your family to lock you away in a grueling mental asylum for 6 months. Wild, I know. But here's the kicker. When you finally return home, you aren't broken. Oh no, you are plotting. Today, we're diving deep into an absolute masterclass in strategic revenge executed by our protagonist, Nuan. Okay, let's dive into this. Listen to this quote for a second. I can only fight back when others strike first. Now, on the surface, that sounds like standard, honestly, pretty oppressive advice handed down by the corrupt hospital director, Dean Liu. And here is the absolute genius of Nuan's character. She takes this restrictive rule and literally turns it into her ultimate legally foolproof weapon. This isn't just some survival mantra. It's the entire foundation of her revenge strategy. By strictly, and I mean strictly, adhering to this rule, she guarantees that every single act of retaliation she dishes out is technically justifiable self-defense. Part 1. The Heiress returns. So let's set the stage here. The Chin family household is a total mess. It's been half a year since Nuan was forced into the asylum, where she had to endure horrific treatments. We're talking electroshock therapy. Eventually, the hospital forces her discharge, and she's finally brought back to the family mansion by her older brothers. But guys, the dynamic she walks back into is just entirely poisoned. On one side, we have Nuan, the true biological sister who was literally wandering outside for 10 years, only to come back, get abused, and be institutionalized. And on the flip side is Shinju, the fake, adopted sister who grew up with all the favor, the love, and the protection of those older brothers. What makes this drama so incredibly captivating is the dramatic irony. Because we, the viewers, know Nuan is meticulously plotting her revenge, right? But her elder brothers remain completely, hopelessly oblivious to Shinju's manipulative, wicked, true nature. They're constantly defending Shinju, just assuming Nuan is this volatile, unstable element. So how exactly does Nuan infiltrate this super hostile environment? Well, she leans entirely into the horrific prejudice held against her. They all believe this terrible stereotype that mentally ill people should be obedient. Shinju and the brothers, they're fully expecting a raving, unpredictable patient. But instead, Nuan completely weaponizes their own expectations against them. She plays the role of the hyper-obedient, deeply traumatized patient to absolute perfection. She totally lowers everyone's guard by acting completely 100% submissive to authority. Which brings us to Part 2, Weaponized Obedience. You see, Nusun is about to completely flip the power dynamic by taking the very system meant to oppress her and turning it into a brilliant psychological trap. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how she does it. We call it the hot pot test. Her brother suspects she might be faking this whole docile routine, so they decide to test her. The eldest brother sarcastically tells her that food tastes better eaten with her bare hands and points to a boiling hot pot. Step 2, Nusun, perfectly playing the obedient patient, unquestioningly plunges her bare hands right into the boiling broth. No hesitation. Step 3 is the payoff. The brothers are instantly flooded with this intense, overwhelming guilt. They realize in that moment that the asylum completely broke her to the point of unthinking obedience. And from this moment on, the second brother especially vows to unconditionally protect her. It's an incredible scene, and it's Nusun's first masterstroke in isolating Shinju from her protectors. Part 3. Purging the servants. With the brothers' guilt firmly secured, Nuan shifts her focus to the household staff. We're talking about the servants who previously made her life miserable, the ones spiking her food, soaking her bed in cold water, locking her in dark rooms, all on Shinju's orders. So yeah, it's time to clean house. And what's really interesting here is the arrival of the strict aunt, who swoops in intending to control the crazy Nuan. This aunt establishes these ironclad family rules: respect, use honorifics, be polite, order, quiet during meals, no noise, and behave, no conflicts, act dutifully. But here's the beautiful irony. Nuan immediately adopts these rules as her own personal executioner's block. These rules, which were literally meant to trap her, give Nuan the perfect, officially sanctioned justification to physically enforce discipline on the corrupt staff and even on Shinju. Let's track the escalation of this revenge because it is wild. Day 1. She confronts the abusive nanny, Aunt Chang, and terrifies her so badly that Chang literally falls back and breaks her own leg. That is karmic payback without Nuan throwing a single unprovoked punch. Day 2.
Shinju invites these awful bullies to a birthday party specifically to assault Nuan. But Nuan just waits. She waits until they strike first, and then enacts brutal, legally justified self-defense with a knife. Day 3. Housekeeper Fong tries to trap her in a wine cellar. Nuan gets out and uses the aunt's rule of order to justify savagely beating him. Every single act of violence is meticulously disguised as either self-defense or just, enforcing the aunt's family rules.
Moving on to Part 4, the sisters' downfall. So Nguyen's systematic dismantling of the household's power structure forces Shinju right into a corner. As we enter the climax of this intense sibling rivalry, Shinju's desperation really peaks, and that carefully crafted mask of the sweet, innocent adopted sister, it finally begins to slip. Let's break down how this builds. Shinju's schemes start getting incredibly sloppy, and Nuan just perfectly counters them with calculated patience. When Shinju sets up that birthday bullying we just talked about, Nuan makes sure her self-defense is captured on camera. This forces the brothers to finally realize Shinju lied about Nuan attacking unprovoked. Then, Shinju gets desperate and bribes housekeeper Fong with $700,000 to trigger one of Nuan's episodes. Nuan's countermove? She simply survives the cellar trap, beats Fong under the guise of the family rules, and literally forces him to publicly confess to the aunt and the brothers about Shinju's bribe. Shinju's sloppy traps completely become her own undoing, and it ultimately results in her getting evicted from the Chin household.
But the true depth of Shinju's cruelty is revealed right here. The brothers, who are finally waking up to the truth, decide to investigate the mental hospital. And what they uncover is horrifying. They find a massive 31 million bribe funneled straight to the corrupt Dean Liu. And as you can see, 100% of this money, which was completely disguised as hospital sponsorship, was orchestrated by Shinju. This wasn't just to keep Nuan out of the house. No, she was specifically paying the hospital to torture Nuan with electroshock therapy. When the brothers realize what they inadvertently enabled by protecting Shinju for so long, they are absolutely shattered.
Part 5. The Final Trap.
Kicked out and desperate, Shinju makes one last fatal play. She teams up with the vengeful Lin Hao family, yep, the same bullies from the birthday party, for a violent kidnapping attempt. They lure Nuan to a remote warehouse to end her once and for all. But right before we look at the climax of this drama, I want you to ask yourself something. Think about everything we've seen. Is Nuan actually crazy? I mean, after the hot pot incident, the sleepwalking, the incredibly violent outbursts, she willingly, almost eagerly, walks directly into Shinju's warehouse trap with a smile on her face. Has the trauma truly broken her grip on reality? Or is there something else at play? Well, the warehouse scene basically turns into a chaotic, incredibly satisfying bloodbath of karmic retribution. The eldest brother arrives just in time and literally takes a hit meant for Noon, finally sacrificing himself for his biological sister. Shinju's master plan completely backfires. She is captured and sent to the exact same mental asylum to endure the very electrotherapy she paid for. And the corrupt Dean Liu? Oh, he gets sent there as a patient too, eventually meeting his demise under his own horrific protocols. Basically, the villains get exactly what they gave, the whole shebang.
And that brings us to Part 6, the genius reveal.
So, the dust has settled. The abusers are punished, but the story leaves us with an ultimate jaw-dropping twist hidden right at the very end of the source material. So the crucial point is this number right here, 160. After the climax, the new hospital director informs the eldest brother of a test result they found buried in Nguyen's medical file. Nguyen's tested IQ is 160. Guys, she was never broken. She orchestrated the entire persona of madness, the sleepwalking, the robotic obedience, every single calculated counterattack from the very beginning.
The doctor actually delivers this chilling realization to the brother, saying, someone with her high IQ can fool everyone. If she wishes, she can act crazy. Nguyen was literally always 10 steps ahead. It's like a giant puzzle she put together perfectly. She weaponized the asylum's oppressive rules, she weaponized her brother's intense guilt, the aunt's strictness, and even her sister's own malice. She directed all of these elements like a symphony conductor until her enemies basically destroyed themselves.
Which leaves us with this final, really provocative thought to ponder as we wrap up. When someone weaponizes their own victimhood this flawlessly, using real trauma as a calculated shield to systematically dismantle their enemies, are they the hero of the story? Or are they just a much more terrifying villain? It's a thrilling question about the morality and the limits of justifiable revenge in this kind of drama. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this breakdown helps you appreciate the brilliant, convoluted strategy hidden behind all the chaos. Keep analyzing, and I'll see you next time.